Well, it's a privilege to have Rachael Allen with us from Union Gospel Mission. Rachael, welcome to 700 Club Canada.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, it is a privilege for our ministry to serve with your ministry. So tell us more about what happened at this Summer Connect outreach. It looked amazing. And was there maybe a particular story that stood out to you?
Absolutely. Well, we were thrilled to bring back our 9th annual Summer Connect event. And as was mentioned, that we had to sadly press pause due to the pandemic. And we know that these last few years have been hard for everyone, but they've also hit our community quite hard. Services here in the downtown east side in Vancouver were constantly in flux during the pandemic. Many of our service providers were forced to close or scale down or just adjust their hours or availability. And all of this confusion or uncertainty around what resources were offered made it confusing for folks here in the neighborhood just about where they could access things, what services were even available to them. And so that's why this event, Summer Connect, was so beautiful, because it was able to streamline that access to these crucial life-changing supports for over 1,300 folks here in our community that came. So it was a one-stop shop where 32 service providers came to set up their booths as intentional resources, providing information about housing, advocacy, employment, income assistance, pet care, and more. And those who stopped by also got some free food and live music and haircuts, as you saw in the video, and the list goes on. Yeah, and just being together at such a joyful community event like this with laughter and food, friends, music, and connection has been so missed in our community. That's just what our community needed, especially these days. And you asked about a story. So one thing that stood out to me, I had a conversation with an older Indigenous woman named Sylvia, and we got chatting, and she told me, I live alone and I struggle with loneliness, and it's also hard for me to afford things. And people are looking for a place where you can connect. And UGM's programs are important to not feel lonely. She said Summer Connect is a great place to connect with others, to reach out when you're struggling and get that support. And for me, I think that was impactful, because when we think about Summer Connect, what comes to mind usually for me is all those services that people can connect to. But what I often forget is how important the community connection can be, especially after the years of the pandemic when we were isolated from each other. And so the power of connection, especially with this kind of event, even to friends and neighbors and those community service providers, it can't be overstated.
Oh, 100%. In fact, I think that's the longing of every single human person, is connection, right? So what a beautiful thing that you have set up. Thanks for sending that video footage too, that we could see and get a glimpse of it. It allows us to see the connection taking place. You mentioned the 32 transformative service providers, which we got a glimpse of in that video, and that's amazing to see all of them come together. What do you see as the role then of partnership in addressing challenges in our society?
Yeah, that's a great question. Here at UGM, we believe that we're better together. And many of the challenges that people in our community are experiencing, specifically homelessness, poverty, and addiction, require consistent collaboration. These are very nuanced, complex issues. And the fact that we see all three of those increasing right now in the middle of a very challenging housing crisis and opioid epidemic just shows that we need to continue to work together to transform individual lives and communities. And so I think here for folks in our community in the middle of all those crises and after living through a global pandemic, having support at their fingertips is needed now more than ever. They're struggling not just to find places to stay, but also with other barriers, like trying to find ID and job opportunities, needing help with their taxes and pensions. And we've seen that folks who've become homeless or could become homeless often feel lost and discouraged when they're faced with all these overwhelming barriers. And the number of folks that are experiencing homelessness has only increased during the pandemic, and now with inflation. And so our community engagement team, who organized Summer Connect, their goal is to build strategic partnerships and initiatives to inspire and serve and catalyze change to help the folks in our community build better lives for themselves. And so I see Summer Connect event as a really great example of partnerships, where it brought together so many different service providers to eliminate barriers that folks in our community face day after day.
Yeah, you know what really stood out to me, even I was watching that clip, that here you have haircuts to taking care of pets to doing taxes for people. These are things that, don't you think, most of us take for granted, that other people don't have the same access to, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that we think that these things, well, we can just go down the street and get our haircut and whatnot. But for folks in the community, having a dignified haircut can be transformative for them.
Yeah.
And we see that at Summer Connect, when these resources are right at their fingertips, it can be a game changer for so many folks that they can make strides in one day that might otherwise take weeks or months. And we're just so grateful for these partnerships with our service providers here that we can facilitate these transformative connections.
Well done, Rachel, because I do believe that unity, and when organizations and ministries work together to serve people, we are better together. Tell me, what is Union Gospel Mission looking forward to in the coming year?
Well, it's an exciting time right now at UGM, and looking forward to a few key things on the horizon. So one is continuing to grow and expand our new Women and Family Center. So we just built, in this last year, a purpose-built new center for women and their families. It just opened this year, and it creates a space for women to heal and grow, and often sowing seeds for them that are needed to change the trajectory of not only their lives, but their families for generations.
Wow.
And it's a place where women and their children have a safe place to thrive and grow. And it follows our continuum of care that our UGM programs have, that offers comprehensive programs like outreach, meals, preventative family programs like childcare and youth care, stabilization, alcohol and drug recovery, aftercare, employment and education, and even housing and childcare. And so we're really thrilled for these programs to continue to grow, specifically as more women and their children join us. And so for us, there's the few key stages of stabilization for women who are either finished detox, going into recovery, or finished recovery and are looking for housing. Can come with 24/7 wraparound support. We have recovery programs, aftercare for women to integrate back into society, and then our transitional housing and daycare. And we're really looking forward to growing those.
What a beautiful holistic approach. Thank you for your ministry. And here's the exciting part. Viewers, you can be part of that. All you have to do is partner with 700 Club Canada. Go to 700club.ca for more information on Union Gospel Mission. We've been longtime partners. And let's do this together. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you so much.